Welcome to MarcusG.TV. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is wine. If you follow any of my stuff, you know that I really enjoy wine. I love that, and it's not one particular style. If you ask me what my favorite wine is, I'm not going to say, oh, I have this favorite wine or that favorite wine. I love many different types of wine, and I can appreciate wine on many different levels, whether it comes from, you know, the best region in France or an unknown region of Croatia, or an upstate pocket in New York that's not a known wine region versus a California Napa wine. I can appreciate wine for the style, for the grape, for the winemaker, and for the region itself. So it's not like, oh, I just love this wine. A lot of people say, oh, I love this and I only drink this. No, for me, I love exploring and tasting. So I'm a big wine person. So, do I drink wine every day? No. Do I enjoy a glass? Absolutely. So here's an article I found from New Zealand online, stuff.co.nz, by John Socker. Do organic wines taste better? Now, I serve organic wines in my restaurant, and I think there's been a stigma around organic wines that people just avoid them because they don't think they taste better, or they don't think they're as good. They think there's problems with them. So if there's been a stigma around organic wines forever that, hey, if you're a serious wine drinker, you don't drink organic wines, and it's very unfortunate. We serve a lot of organic wines in my restaurant, and can you tell the difference? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Is it just in your head if you know that it's organic? Well, here's a great article. Now, first of all, I want to classify or clarify the difference in organic grapes versus organic wine. So a lot of vineyards around the world actually grow organic grapes because they're not stupid. They're not going to spray and harm their land, especially these smaller estates where they live there and it's been in their family for generations. They're not that stupid. Some of them reserve the right to spray, and some of them feel that, well, why should I be certified when my family has done this for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 generations? Why should I certify myself organic when we've always been organic? And that's a lot of their feelings, organic or biodynamic. So you can have organic grapes out in the field that are picked and then go into a conventional winery where they're using non or inorganic ingredients to make the wine. So that's possible. So sometimes you see in a bottle of wine it says made with organic grapes, which means the grapes are organic, but the process isn't of making the wine. There are more and more wineries now where the whole wine is certified organic, which means the grapes are organic and the whole process is organic. And depending upon where it's produced, they're allowed or not allowed to add sulfites. If it's an American wine, you won't be able to, they're not allowed by law, if they call it organic in the United States, if it was made in the United States, if it was made in the United States, to have sulfites. If it's being imported from Europe, they're allowed like 100 or 110 parts per million of sulfites in white and 100 parts in red. So don't think that all organic wine is sulfite free, because it's not. So wines that are made in the U.S., yes. So a lot of people say that, okay, wines will not last as long as they don't have sulfites. Sulfites are a preservative. So if you get an organic Merlot that's, 6, 7 years old, it might be long shot. But if you get an organic Merlot that's, that's freshly bottled, that's maybe a year old, something like that might be much, much better than its counterpart of aging it because of the sulfite factor. So this is what John Socker says here. This is a very interesting article. So they did an experiment. The organic wine growers of New Zealand did an experiment with Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay is a very well-known Sauvignon Blanc in the Marlborough region. So this is a several-year project, by the way, to have organic versus non-organic. So they did side-by-side wines of the same grape, same region, same vineyard. They did Sauvignon Blanc, they did Syrah, they did other ones. So here's what he says. At the end of the 2014 vintage, the winemakers involved were instructed to make both sets of grapes into wine in the same way, okay, where practical. So they said, here's your organic grapes, here's your non-organic grapes. Put these in the winery, make the wine the same way from organic and non-organic grapes that were grown in the same area, the same varietal, So there's no differences in saying, okay, well, this is 100 miles away. No, these are the same grapes, just organic and non-organic. The big surprise was how different they were. There were considerable variances in fruit expressions and structure between the organic and conventional wines. Okay. With the two reds, I correctly guessed which were organic, both of which I scored higher than their partners, and a lot higher than the Syrah. So he scored the organic reds higher, and the Syrah, which is a red, much, much higher. As for the Sauvignon Blanc, I found one version far more settled and sensible than its lively, unfocused running mate. So I picked it, the former, to be organic. He was wrong, though, on that. With both the size and the tasting and those results, there were no firm conclusions to be drawn. So to say that organic is worse, or that organic is not a serious wine, it's inaccurate. It's very inaccurate when people say that. There are organic wines out there that do give the industry a bad stigma. There are organic wines that just, and it's based upon the style and the price point. But many of the best wineries in Bordeaux, they don't spray, and in Burgundy they don't spray. They're very biodynamic. They're very, and even when it goes to biodynamic, we have phenomenal biodynamic wines here at the restaurant that are just dynamite. These wines are dynamite, and people love them. But when I sell a lot of these wines, I don't tell people they're organic. I don't tell people they're biodynamic, because to them it might not be a selling point. If somebody walks in and says, "Hey, I'm looking for an organic wine," I'm going to say, "Man, I got the great organic wine for you. What do you drink? White, red, What do you like? Big, bold? Do you like something soft?" So it just really depends upon your perception going into this. So people just think, a lot of people think, it was funny the other day, somebody walked up to my restaurant and they saw the mahi mahi on the outside chalkboard, and they stopped. I was sitting outside, I was doing work, and I watched them do a turnaround. They're like, "Oh, mahi mahi, that's great." So they walk up to the window and they start looking at my menu, and they see all the organic words on the menu. And the guy goes, "Oh, organic, I would kill myself in here." Like, really? Like, you would kill yourself in my restaurant because you're eating organic food? So it's just people's perception of organic right from the get-go puts a negative aspect on the food, on the wine, on whatever they're consuming. So I think that's part of the problem, is that people just think, oh, organic. The majority of people still, don't get me wrong, there's the big organic movement's here and it's happening, and there's a lot of people love it, and you can find organic in the stores everywhere. But to the masses in America still, they don't care about organic. They don't care about the environment. They just care about satisfying their taste, their needs, their own thing, and they don't care about health. They don't care about any of that. I see it all the time. People that come to my restaurant think that I'm some kind of weirdo and the food is weird. This guy was like, "I would kill myself in this restaurant. All the organic." Like really? Like the food you're eating is killing you. So my organic food's not going to kill you. There's no need for you to kill yourself. So, in the very beginning, when we first opened, we've been open 12 years. In the very beginning, when we first opened, three people come into the restaurant, and they want to sit down and eat. They get a table, and they can't get the one couple. She can't get her husband in the door because the menu outside said, I had the word organic on it here and there in certain items. And they could not get the husband in the door of my restaurant because there was a word organic on the menu. He had wanted nothing to do with organic. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And at this time in Ellenville, where I had my restaurant, there were no other restaurants. You couldn't walk up the street and dine at other restaurants. I was the only one around. They could not get him in, and they actually left the restaurant and apologized. Now, I'm sorry. If you're married and you're with another couple, why would you make a big deal as to not even walk in the door of a restaurant? You're with guests, you're with other people. Suck it up and deal with it. Just, it's like, why would you make everybody else miserable? Are you that selfish to make everybody miserable that you have to leave and go? They had to drive to another restaurant. There was no other restaurants around. You would have had to drive. And I'm sure you're all hungry because you probably drove in. So it's just mind-boggling. So people go into the organic realm and they look at organic wine. If they know ahead of time, they're just like, oh, organic wine. Oh, why would you serve that? Why would I drink organic wine? So I think that's the biggest problem with the organic wine industry. It's just that people are uneducated, and they just don't understand the consequences of spraying pesticides. They don't understand the consequences of what happens to the environment and to your health. I'm not saying that wine is a health food or healthy, because wine is quite the opposite. It's alcohol. It's very dehydrating. It throws off a lot in your body when you drink alcohol. But there is if you're going to drink wine, if you are going to drink alcohol, there's a consequence on the other end of that side that you can make a difference on by supporting organic. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.